name is Hassan. I'm here with our supervisor. Harpreet here is from Fido here at the Dufferin Mall. He's going to be our supervisor that we're going to be introducing. My first question is, what does leadership mean to you, and how do you develop leadership qualities in yourself and others?
What leadership means to me is personally, it's setting a standard. It's understanding what the company's expectations are, and then it's also realizing your employees' abilities, and then also seeing how much they can grow, and trying to make them grow into the employee that they can be, the best that they can be, and basically allowing them to giving them the opportunity to basically hit their targets by making their job easier in certain categories. Like for example, personally with me, what I would do is I make sure that the inventory is always on point, so my employees can also sell whenever they need to sell. There's not so they can hit their accessory numbers. Also, even just getting to train on phones. So stuff like that is basically it's empowering your employees to be the best that they can be.
Okay, yeah, good stuff. How would you confront disciplinary situations?
Well, it all depends on the degree of the situation. Different situations require different disciplinary actions. Generally, what I see at work is people not doing the simple things, right? And for that, it just requires you to just letting them know verbally the first time, and following up on them, and and also praising them when they do good. Like for example, if they do change their behavior, to praise them so that they don't fall back onto it, and just to show that you are paying attention to their actions at work. So, but on an overall level, that's how you would deal on a regular basis. But in some situations, people do have to get let go.
Okay. In certain circumstances, just to touch on this a little bit, some supervisors don't like dealing with disciplinary situations. They just hope it would go away.
I know what, personally, I love it because I want everyone who works for me to be the best that they can be, right? So when people who work with me, they know that I'm trying to make them the best that they can be, right? So it's not me coming at you, making you feel little, making you feel weak, making you feel just not having value. I think everyone has value. Sometimes people just fall off, and sometimes people have a bad day. I recognize everyone's value, and for me personally, I like to let people know what they're doing wrong, because personally, my whole saying is, I love when I'm so obsessed with being right that I want you to tell me I'm wrong, because I want to be as right as soon as possible. Absolutely. Right? Yeah. So that's how I see it for the disciplinary actions.
What set standards? Okay,
basically how it says standards, it comes down to one thing. You yourself have to be the standard. If you're not the standard, then no one's going to follow it. It's almost like being a parent. If the parent is like wild and crazy, what's stopping the kid from acting like that, right? And if you have to basically be the adult, right? So if you set the standard for yourself, hey, listen, I don't come in late, right? I don't do this, I don't do this, I don't do this. Because what happens is, if you say to somebody, hey, you're coming in late consistently twice a week, right? I need you to stop doing that. But if you yourself are coming in late twice a week, there's nothing for you to really, there's no backbone that you have, right? So basically the standard has to be set within yourself. Once that's been set, then you can hold people accountable. Then you can basically say, listen, this is me, and this is how I work, and I expect you to do the same thing too, because I think that you have the ability, and that's why you're hired, and now I just need you to do, the right thing.
Good stuff. Thank you very much.
My first question is, what adjustments will you have to make in order to effectively lead a diverse group of people?
Basically, growing up in Toronto, I went to a school with over people with such a diverse background. We had in our school representing 90 different countries. So I have an idea what it is to be in a diverse environment. Basically, you have to understand people's sensitivities, right? Certain cultures, you can speak to them into a certain way with aggression, like you can be more straight up. Certain type of cultures require you to approach them in a different way. It's just understanding people's sensitivities. On an overall level, it's just, that's all it is. It's just understanding,
Okay, how would you improve your use of time?
Personally, I think I could be a better delegator, right? There's times, what happens is in the retail industry, you are either, people are always coming and going, right? So you have some employees that are good at being delegated stuff to, and some are not, right? So personally, at this time, I don't have any problems with delegating work to my staff. Everyone's really good.
What are the purpose of performance appraisal in your organization?
Well, the purpose is just to recognize the employee, right? And everyone wants to be recognized. No matter what they say, oh, I'm doing this for me, I don't care what other people think. That's such a statement that comes from nowhere sincere, okay? Everybody cares about what you think about them. And everyone loves when you're shown appreciation by a mass group, by your peers, your work peers, right? So it is basically recognizes the employee, you know?
So my first question is, when dealing with new employees, what is the best approach you take to gain better communication?
Basically, it's establishing a rapport. Once you establish a rapport, they feel more comfortable with you. And at that point, it's easier to communicate with your staff much better. People are just it's basically empathizing with somebody.
Right.
And empathy is basically showing another person that you are just like them. And once you do that, it opens up an area of communication that generally isn't experienced with the boss and the employee. I mean, to a certain extent, you can't take it too far. You do have to be professional, but you can it's just basically establishing a rapport, just showing that you're like them, and
Yeah. What is the process in making the hiring decision?
The process is basically, once we get the resume, we do look at their skills. We see what areas are their strengths. We see if they align the company's objectives. And generally, when it comes to this job here, we're just looking for someone who's able to communicate.
Okay.
Handle
is there
themselves.
any skills in particular you guys are looking for?
Yeah,
Maybe someone that's graduated from business or
it's
anything
communication
like that?
skills.
Okay.
I'll tell you something. It doesn't matter if you went to school or if you didn't went to school. The biggest thing is your ability to stay cool in a situation where you come under pressure, when you feel that you're being attacked, right? It's pretty much that.
Are there any situations where supervisors give employees an active role in making decisions about their jobs?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's the best way to do it. It's empowering your staff and making them feel that they themselves can lead themselves. If I had to handhold everybody, I wouldn't get anywhere, right? I spend the whole day holding everyone's hand, getting to do things. Also, what you gotta do is you gotta kind of recognize the leaders amongst the staff, and you gotta empower them, because sometimes even those people can help you lead other people, right? Not always are you going to be the one that people are going to feel comfortable coming to. Sometimes they need another person that's not the boss to communicate things, and also you hold them accountable to certain things.
When you make a choice, do you tend to rely on past experiences, or are you open to creative solutions?
Well, there is a saying that past results are indicative of the future results. So, to a certain extent, yes, but things do evolve, things do change. The environment that we work in does change. You kind of do rely on the past, because that's where you can. That's your point of reference, right? So at the end of the day, I do, but I enjoy experimenting, right? That it first of all, breathe new life into my job, and it's all about experimenting and stuff. So it's half and half. It's also about looking in the past and seeing what's going on in the past and how things ended up when you approach this in a certain way. And also it's about looking out and communicating with other managers and seeing how they're doing things, and seeing how you can maybe do it better.
So in your experience, the best thing is a combination of both?
It's a combination of both. It really is a combination of both.
Is it possible for employees to have low morale and still be highly productive?
Absolutely, because what happens is you won't get the maximum potential, right? It depends, because some people have a crazy work ethic. They don't care what's happening in their life. They come to work to just lose themselves in that work.
Yeah.
Some people are like that. Personally, I'm kind of like that, where when I come to work, I just lose myself into work, and I don't want to think of anything else. It's almost my escape. Work is almost my escape, right? So, but on an overall level, if you expect the highest level from an employee, from your coworker, you have to make sure that everything is going good, and you have to see where you yourself can make their life better, and where you have to step away and say, you know what?
What are some major considerations that supervisors of minority employees should keep in mind?
like I said, like I grew up in a school where there was represented by more than 80 people, 80 countries. So I do understand different sensitivities. I do understand you can't speak to a certain type of people in a certain type of way in a direct manner.
Yeah.
Some people require a more, a passive approach. It's basically it's a cultural thing, and you know what? And at the end of the day, you can learn about people's culture on the fly. You know, you can ask somebody, and there's no real. I mean, living in Canada, everyone kind of like just gets the picture. Yeah.
So the best way for you, in other words, is to be open for understanding.
Yeah, just be openly understanding. Don't. I mean, it can kind of get difficult. Some people need certain days off and this and that, and I get it, right? In a way, it's good that they're able to keep their life separate from work, and it's good for people to pursue their culture and whatever outside of work and even inside of work. You know what? Everyone kind of gets the picture when they come to work, what's expected and stuff. When you get this job, you kind of know what you're here for, what's expected of you, and people align themselves with that pretty well.
Okay, thank you, Harpreet.
No problem.